Dark on Netflix is a sci-fi German show that has been critically praised across the board. Fans of it go nuts, recommending it constantly, at least judging from my comments section. And I'm happy to say I finished all 3 seasons. This will be a spoiler-free review up until a point, aside from one thing that I'm going to have to talk about, but I'll talk about everything else first. I'll have one spoiler that I will give a warning for if you're super averse for spoilers before I get into it, and then a full spoiler section at the end. But the big question remains up front. Does Dark live up to the hype? Very often, the answer to that question is no. And that's for many reasons. My opinion, largely Dark does. This is fantastic. So I did a little bit of research before I decided to launch this review of what exactly is the story behind Dark. And there's just a couple very simple reasons of why I think this show worked out so well. First and foremost, they had their story planned. 3 seasons, tell it, done. So many shows get drawn out, added all these seasons, so the original story becomes something where they need to just fill it in, and the quality will drop. Not all the time. There's some shows that just get drawn out and drawn out and drawn out, but they kind of are feeding into that formula in a nicer way. Dark couldn't have done that. Dark is so convoluted and so complex, no question. They needed to have a as tight as possibly could be plan and narrative before launching it. On top of that, Dark wasn't a super crazy huge production. It was for, I believe, German standards. I'm not putting my name behind that though. I don't know what the typical budget is. But this isn't like a Hollywood investment where you have a ton of studio heads involved and all this stuff. From what I could tell looking into it, this is a very from the minds of the creators production, and it feels like that. Another thing you're going to hear a lot of the time said about Dark is that it's a Stranger Things. This is Stranger Things. I have no idea why people are saying that if they've watched more than just the couple first episodes. Yeah, if you just watch the couple first episodes, it's kids running around with some sci-fi stuff going on in a darker tone. That I'll give you. But if you push even just a little bit deeper into season 1, especially if you're hitting season 2 and 3, that comparison completely ends in my mind, 1000%. And a lot more to me. Dark watches like the best Stephen King adaptation of a Stephen King story that does not exist. It feels like Stephen King at his absolute best in terms of writing, and maybe if he never stopped doing Blow as well. This man, Dark goes to a lot of the twisted places that King will go in his writing. It's going to be one of those shows where you will audibly say, what the in, a good way. My facial expression at multiple points when things occurred within Dark was just, oh no. The cinematography and sound design especially come together in a wonderful blend, which just makes this atmosphere of creep that is almost overwhelming. Clarification here. Real quick, there was one specific hit in the score that I did like, but I just found to be a bit overused. It's like this giant, sad, robotic cat meowing, and it was just a little too much. It was this meow, meow. It was kind of like that. I don't want to get copyright strikes, so I'm not gonna really grab it. But that was a little much. But aside from that, really great. I was so excited when I realized how immersed I came into the show pretty much the second it started. Just in it. Every episode, within the first couple of seconds, I was just, yes, Dark me there. Not since Breaking Bad have I had my focus and attention so just lasered in on a narrative. And I think largely it's because, as I mentioned earlier, Dark's narrative is twisty crazy. Even, I was taking notes because I'm going to review it, so it's important that I take notes. Everyone start taking notes on who people are in your notepad. You're going to have a nice organized notepad for the first half of the first season. By the 3rd season, you will have a full conspiracy wall in front of you. And it's so worth it. Also, just quick side note, read the subtitles. Don't do the dubs. I made the mistake of in the middle of season 2, I was like, what are the dubs like? And I put them on. They don't match the dialogue. If you have subtitles and then you watch the dubs, you're like, that's not what they said. It's a little different. And that can change a lot. So just go with subtitles. Just go with the subs, because that was a really strange experience. Dark also possessed some of the best character work I have come across in the last couple of years for any medium. These characters evolve and grow while also remaining true to who they are. It's really an excellent exercise in how you can force characters to flip-flop onto the good and bad while not unbelievably changing them, while not taking it to a point where you just feel like it's an all new person. Definitely a character-driven show, and if you find yourself being someone who is drawn to character work, I can't imagine you won't love Dark. Now, there is a group of people, probably larger than a lot of you think, who are hearing what I'm saying and going, oh, another convoluted, twisty show? I'm not, twist fatigue's a thing for me. I don't blame you. With shows like Lost and many others in the past that have burned diehard audiences before with just constantly piling in the additional twists, that's a thing now, we're not going to resolve it, but this is a thing. Yes, I understand twist fatigue, and it's not even always about the lack of payoff. Sometimes it's just like, again, we're adding something to the narrative in that sense. And I actually can feel that. I didn't hear, because it all made so much sense as it becomes revealed to you. The writing was so meticulous in understanding what the viewer needed to know versus what you could hold back. That's something that writers don't always handle perfectly. You can often be left going like, why did that happen? That didn't make sense to me, but not in a satisfying, mysterious way, and like a, no, that just broke me out, that shouldn't have happened way. I never felt that. I was always like, oh, if something happened that seemed to be a left turn and maybe not the direction it was going in, because of the story this show is telling, I always knew and I had faith there was going to be justification, and it was 100% of the time given to me. It's almost like planning out your story beforehand and having a good idea where it's going to go should be the norm and not the exception. Hi, Pips. I'm also going to say you should probably get to the end of season 1 before you're going to be as positive as I was, because I was a bit more conflicted earlier on in season 1, but by the end of season 1, oh. Now, I've given a metric ton of praise just piled on top. So much praise just right there. Here are my few criticisms. These are somewhat nitpicky, but I just want to get into them because they are there, and it's only fair that I acknowledge this is not a flawless show. Season 1 could have communicated some character motivations a little bit better, and I would have liked some more hand-holding in a sense for trying to figure out who is who at times. I can't say more specifically what exactly I'm referring here, just because of how important that earlier on knowledge of who everyone is and connected to matters in later seasons. This isn't very bad, it just was only okay, and compared to the rest of the show's outstanding, it does stand out. The communication in that specific sense bugged me a tiny bit. Season 2, I could see some people saying, okay, no matter how well you deliver, this is too complicated, and a couple of twists and turns here just seem to be going in directions that you, as a viewer, could go, that's not going to work out well. It will. It will. Remember, they wrote it from day one to the finish, and they knew where it was going to go, and that means everything that's introduced will work out in terms of a narrative not breaking the story that's happening. There is specifically one thing, I'll get in the spoiler section, that they threw in that even I, who was very faithful in the show at this point, went, nope, no, that can't work out well. It's too big, it's not going to work out well. And I was wrong. I also consistently, throughout all 3 seasons, stop being vague. If you need to communicate important information to somebody, stop being vague. These are intelligent characters that is shown to us again and again and again, and the fact that many times they're just like vague things, and then the person they're talking to is like, couldn't you just tell me exactly A, B, C, D here, and that would give me the information I need to solve? No? Oh, you're gone now. Thanks for that. That happened a few times. But that's the criticisms I have. When it comes to season 3, I don't have really any criticisms. It just worked constantly. There are definitely some moments that, like, the drama's on a level where you're just going to be like, wah! Like, I physically was clenching. My body clenched in response to so many scenes. In revulsion, in excitement, in the action tension sense, the emotions I felt watching Dark. Alright, so I'm going to get into that one spoiler now. I don't think it will hurt your enjoyment of this show if you know this thing, because it's pretty much shown in like episode 1 or 2. I don't remember at this point, but yes, this is a thing, and I think you can infer even in episode 1, like, oh, this is going to be part of it. So, and if you've been paying attention, it's also in a bunch of the marketing material, so apparently they didn't even consider it a spoiler because it's like the base premise of the show. Yeah, if you're super sensitive to spoilers, click off the video, but I'm going to go ahead and address that spoiler now. Time travel is a part of Dark, and I haven't seen, so okay, time travel in movies or shows can be handled one or two ways. You can just go the, don't think about it, it's okay, it's just time travel route, have fun with it. You know, Back to the Future does not really go hard in its exploration of time travel, and as a result, you don't really nitpick the time travel there. Like, you can nitpick any time travel media and find flaws. Or you can go the rather serious, explore it route. This one tends to be more heavily criticized and looked into. Dark did a fantastic job of establishing rules, patterns, and behaviors for time travel so that you as the audience never get ripped out of it because you see a glaring flaw with how they're handling things. And on top of that, narratively, I have not seen time travel utilized as effectively ever as it was here in Dark. I've watched a lot of time travel movies. Every possible like avenue for time travel storytelling went down. Nothing is off the table in Dark. And in the spoiler section, I'll get into that more. You don't feel safe. Never in Dark do you feel safe at a certain point because it's shown everyone's touchable, man. So, aside from what I've said here, and okay, there's also some weaker VFX shots, but they didn't bother me as much. I'll be more critical of VFX shots if I'm not that like enjoying the story, because it's like, you couldn't even get that right. But here, I love the story so much, it's like, I'll forgive that because I'm focused, my eyes are over here, not there. Aside from what I've said, Dark is the pinnacle of what TV should be. This is up there with Chernobyl, Breaking Bad, and The Wire for me. I'm going to give Dark a 9.5 out of 10. That is borderline a masterpiece, and I don't give 10s out of 10s until I have a lot of time to think about stuff, so high likelihood I could push Dark into the 10 out of 10 territory. Yeah, I had criticisms, but they're remarkably small, and overall, I think this is one of the most impressive outings from television I have seen. Let's get into spoilers. It's on Netflix. If you haven't watched it already, go do so. Then come back, watch the spoiler section. 3, 2, 1, go. Spoilers. Be gone, non-spoilery people. Make my analytics go. So I mentioned time travel. I didn't mention the multiverse. That was the moment where I was like, no. You've done such a good job with time travel. Now a multiverse, but it worked. I'm so impressed by the writers here for having a narrative with time travel and multiverse where they're interplaying in 3 sets, not just 2, it's 3, and it never lost a web, or if it did, I didn't catch it. I will also say though, in a couple of scenes where like they have the portals open, what's with the finger touching? Why was that such a thing? That's not a real criticism. It's not. I'm not criticizing right now. I just want to know why, if I open a portal, first thing I'm not going to do is go, bah. First thing I'm going to do is, can I talk? I don't want to touch because explosions are a thing. So I'm just going to talk to you right now. But it's just multiple times people are like, hand. But no, I didn't get that. So I started keeping a special score count on my notepad of the incest web, and I eventually just tore it out and threw it away. I should know because I would love to show it to you here because it got so. This makes Game of Thrones look good. That is what we have people being their mothers and their daughter. Like then we have when Jonas's thing came out, I was like, wow, that's bad. But little did I know, that's Little League shit, man. This show went full on. This person gave birth to their daughter, but that daughter is their now mother. What? And then going beyond, so that's already like, whoa, okay, that's touching on some taboo stuff. And this is where it goes full king. Then we started having parents killing their kids and kids killing their parents while there's this incest going on. So someone's over there killing their mother, brother, uncle, cousin, and someone's over here killing their father, daughter, cousin, brother. Jesus. I literally at a certain point just had to go, I'm tired of keeping track of the incest. And that's not a sentence I thought I'd say in a show that I liked this much. Okay, so more specific spoiler things here. It's not just generally gleefully talking about patricide, incest, infanticide stuff. I'm gonna get demonetized so heavily. The apocalypse. This is another area where I was like, that's to me, every time we were talking specifically about the apocalypse part of this, that I don't know. I just didn't connect to that threat as much as the writers probably wanted me to. I don't know exactly why. I was just kind of like, it seems too vague. Even when we were like watching it, I was like, whatever. Like that for me was one part of it because I was so character invested here. So every time we backed away and went to larger picture, my investment went down a bit. The reveal that there's a third Earth involved and that's the like original one, that wasn't surprising to me at all. I mean, you can catch early on that there's gonna be a pattern of threes here. As soon as that triple triangle was shown, I was like, all right, so we're going threes. If I read the script for Dark, just like it was handed me the first episode and I saw everything being set up, I'd be like, no, we're not going to get involved in that because it's not going to work out. But that's just proof that I'm just need to stop being disappointed by Hollywood and look to other mediums where people can actually land projects like these and not ruin them. Oh my God, if Dark got drawn out and they were like, no, we need 3 more seasons, it would be destroyed. Someone would get richer, I'm sure, but you would ruin this piece of art that now is this trilogy of seasons that can hold up the test of time forever. That's so much more valuable. All right, so specific spoilers, sorry. My favorite relationship here is Jonas and Marta. Their complex love of revulsion, I shipped them. How could I ship them? Jonas is an awful, Jonas/Adam, awful and yet I'm sitting here like, be together. Jonas as a whole, I somehow hate, feel horrible for, and in times I'm like, yeah, go, wait, no. The biggest moment for the whole season for me was when Marta killed Jonas, because it was also kind of like revenge in a way for when he killed her, but he didn't really kill her, he killed different... I have a headache. If someone kept track in the comments down below, let me know if more kids killed their parents or parents killed their kids. That's another sentence I never thought I'd say. Let's talk about that very, very end, though. We have a Thanos ending, right? Like, everyone's snapped from existence, and it resolves down to the original Earth, and we get this, like, final scene with everyone together without all of the awfulness occurring. And this is a true statement. Dark outdid Infinity War, because it gets a bigger snap. Like, it's not an actual snap, but you know what I mean? We have 2 whole universes turning to dust and falling apart, condensing down to the original, and it's one of the best endings to a show I've ever experienced. I am impressed. I have renewed hope in TV, movies, because there's still good shows out there. Like, I'm seeing good shows, but I haven't seen one on this caliber in so long. Not since Breaking Bad. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on Dark in the comments down below. Remember, this is just my opinion, and I would like to hear yours in the respectful discourse that happens in the comments. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. Dark is available on Netflix, so go ahead and check that on out. Have a good one. Peace.